Mr. Speaker, I rise today to advise the honourable members of the completion of the actuarial reviews of the Public Service Superannuation Fund, PSSF, and the ministers and members of the Legislative Pension Fund, which we title MMLPF. For the year ended March 31st, 2020, which we're tabled in this Honourable House today. Mr. Speaker, I acknowledge that the 2023 actuarial reviews for both the Public Superannuation Fund and the ministers and members of the Legislative Pension Fund were tabled in the House on March 21st, 2025. It was at that time inquiries, I don't remember, I believe Dakota, regarding the 2020 actuarial reviews were made. Upon investigation, I became aware that the reports had not been tabled. Once this oversight was identified, the Ministry of Finance reviewed its records and found that although the actuarial reviews were completed in December 2020, they were never presented, something which we apologize to this Honourable House. Mr. Speaker, the PSSF provides contributory defined pensions to Bermuda Public Service employees and to employees of some public authorities. The purpose of the actuarial review is to determine the going concern of the financial position of the PSSF, to estimate the costs of the benefit being accrued during the period up to the next evaluation date, and to determine the adequacy of the PSSF contribution rate. The report includes a 3-year projection of the funded ratio based on assets, actuarial liabilities, and normal costs projected to March 31st, 2023. Items of note regarding the actuarial reviews are as follows. The total invested assets of the fund at March 31st, 2020 was $559 million. March 31st, 2017, $571 million. This represents a $11.8 million or 2.06% decrease since the 2017 review. Contribution income for the year ended March 31st, 2020 was $61.9 million. March 2017, $59.8 million. And benefit payments and refunds total $86.2 million. March 2017, $81.9 million. There were 4,476 active members contributing to the fund as at March 2020. And March 2017, there was 4,312. And 3,188 March 2017. Retirees who were receiving a benefit. The PSS Act was amended in 2019 to change the compulsory retirement age from age 65 to 68 years for all employees except for the police, fire officers, prison officers, judges, and teachers. In response to the COVID-19 pandemic, the government enacted the Public Service Superannuation Temporary Amendment Act 2020 to provide a 1-year suspension of the government's contributions and an optional suspension of contributors' contribution. The PSSF is not fully funded on the going concern basis. As at March 31st, 2020, the net fund assets were $609.74 million, and the accrued benefit obligation was $1.6 billion. The addition of the unamortized experience gain of $12.84 million gives the pension liability of $1.0 billion recorded and disclosed in March 31st, 2020 auditor statements of the consolidated fund. The 3-year projected financial position to March 31st, 2023 was done using the economic and demographic assumptions which were used for the March 2017 evaluation. Taking account of the 1-year suspension, the funded ratio of the PSSF at March 31st, 2020 was 37.3%, and this is projected to decline to 30.3% at March 31st, 2023. The funded ratio measures the actuarial value of the assets of the pension plan divided by the actuarial liabilities. Ministers and members of the Legislature Pension Fund. The MMLPF provides contributory defined pensions to all ministers and members of the Legislature of Bermuda. Benefits in respect of the service before April 1st, 1988 are paid from the Consolidated Fund. The purpose of the report on the actuarial review is to determine the going concern financial position of MMLPF, to estimate the cost of the benefit being accrued under the MMLPF during the period up until the next valuation, to determine the adequacy of the fund contribution rate, and to estimate the future benefits payments under the Consolidated Fund of the Government of Bermuda. The report includes a 3-year projection of the financial position of the fund, excluding benefits covered by the Consolidated Fund, to March 31st, 2023. Items of note regarding the actuarial review are as follows. There were 48 active members contributing to the fund as at March 2020. March 2017, there were 46 active members and 59 retirees, spouses, and retirees of other beneficiaries who were receiving a benefit. At March 31st, 2020, the valuation date, the main assets of the fund consisted of amount due from the Consolidated Fund of $11.06 million, and as of March 2017, $12.75 million. In response to the COVID-19 pandemic, the government enacted the Ministers and Members of the Legislature Salary and Pensions Amendment Act 2020 to provide for a 1-year suspension of government contributions and an optional 1-year suspension of a member's contribution. The MMLP fund is not fully funded on the going concern basis. The members and government contributions do not cover the normal cost of benefits earned each year under the fund. The funding ratio at March 2020 was 36.7%. There was a projection to decrease to 29.8% as of March 2023. Mr. Speaker, the benefit payments made from all the pension plans are important to the ongoing financial stability and security, along with the health of the seniors in our society. Mr. Speaker, honorable members are advised that the March 31st, 2023 next actuarial reviews of the PSSF and the MMLPF were tabled in the House of Assembly, House of the Legislature, on March 31st, 2025. And the next actuarial review is scheduled for the period March 31st, 2026, for both of the funds. Mr. Speaker, as outlined in my 24-25, as outlined in the 2024-25 and 25-26 budget statement, the government acknowledges the critical need for pension reform and has undertaken extensive analysis and consultation on this issue. After consulting with all relevant stakeholders, several recommendations have been agreed upon to address the increased unfunded liability of the PSSF. These recommendations will be presented to the House during the budget session, ensuring that commitments to current and future public service retirees can be honored. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.